Welcome back. This is the continued conversation. And if you're here, that means you've checked out the Movie Manifest meeting over the movie The Unforgivable, starring Sandra Bullock on Netflix. Streaming now, actually. It is number one currently on Netflix, so you probably can't miss it. I'm here with Jackson again.
Hey, so let's get into what you missed, or just to catch you up if it's been a while since you saw our meeting. So we did our ratings on The Unforgivable. Chun went 7.9, even though his first reaction to the film did seem like he would go a lot lower. So I ended up guessing low, but he went 7.9. I went 6.8. He chose this film because he thought it'd be up my alley. It wasn't, but we'll get into that later. Group average right now is 7.35. We said it just came out last week. It's an hour 47. For the genres, we went drama, family dynamics, and there's tragedy because she's getting out of prison. And the film does go back in time to something that happened 20 years ago and what led to her going to prison, and how that has affected her and her sister's life today. So there's some tragedy in there. Quick synopsis: a woman is released from prison after serving a sentence for a violent crime and re-enters a society that refuses to forgive her past. Director is Nora Fingscheit, Sandra Bullock, Viola Davis, Vincent D'Onofrio, Rod Morgan. The girl you said from Nightingale, can't pronounce her name. Maybe you can.
Aisling Franciosi.
There you
probably
go.
Probably butchered that.
But a lot of actors that got into this movie that were extremely underused because their acting talents. I'd say some of them were even probably looking like objectively, some of them were probably even better than Sandra Bullock. Even though Sandra Bullock is still a very fine actress, there's just a lot of underused talent.
I mean, Viola Davis is a better actress than Sandra Bullock. I mean, I think I feel very comfortable saying that. Like, no disrespect to Sandra Bullock, but Viola Davis is everything I've seen her in, even the amount of time that she's in it, she brings it. So even in this one, she had like a couple scenes, and the scenes that she had, she brought it. So
yeah, was she in 3-4 scenes?
Where she actually had to stretch, yeah, maybe even total 3 or 4, but she really stretched in like 2 of them. So it was really good to see.
So I just noticed this, so I'm going to point this out to the viewers. So right now on IMDb, it's 7.2 out of 10 with 26,000 people have rated it. Meta is 41. That's an F.
Yeah, and so I mean, Metacritic has gotten it wrong before. You look at movies like Joker, you look at movies like I've seen recently, Life is Beautiful, I watched from Jake's recommendation, and Metacritic does get it wrong.
Well, because the critics. Yeah, the
critics. Objectively, this movie has some weak points if you're really going to put it under a microscope. Jackson for sure was talking to me before. If you really dig into how the real world works, a lot of the story, when you're not locked into the narrative, you really can. Some of the stuff can crumble if you know how the real world works. You want to kind of touch on your view on that?
I do, but first I would just I saw this, so it's 7.2 on IMDb. I gave it a 6.8. You gave it 7.9. That averages a 7.35. So it's pretty close
to the user rating. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So and also say, so this is my 37th favorite movie of the year. Or you can say my third least favorite. So whichever one you want to call it, it's your tied for it's in your top 15.
Top 15. Okay, it's all right.
So it's up there. Okay, so yeah, I'll share my thoughts. I feel like I wouldn't have had as many problems with this film if it didn't try to be so authentic. But when it tries to be so authentic, tries to like act like this is real life, and tries to really depict someone like how they were, like someone struggles just going out of parole, trying to turn their lives around, trying to reconnect with family, friends, and try to move on, and then dealing with society, dealing with what you've done, and just moving from your past. But when there's a disconnect between what's going on in the movie and in real life, then that's when I have to like put it under that microscope. Like, this wouldn't happen in real life. This wouldn't happen. This wouldn't happen. This wouldn't happen. But if you try to like make this original and just like not try and do like like a biopic in a way. I know this wasn't based off a true story, but I feel like a lot of people could relate to this. So maybe someone else has gone through this situation. But yeah, I had a few problems with it. Um, First, let's get into it. She was sentenced for 20 years for killing a sheriff of this county in Washington.
Yeah.
We later down the movie, we're just gonna go ahead and get into spoilers.
Yeah, there are spoilers here. So at this point,
Yeah,
if you're not aware of that, click off it because we're gonna
yeah.
get into everything that happens.
I'll give
Yeah.
you a 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're still here, then you've seen this movie.
And you
Okay,
want to
so
be punished, you weirdo.
yeah, it
Right.
says
Yeah.
she served 20 years for killing the sheriff. Well, we find out with about 10 minutes left, maybe 10, 15 minutes left in the movie, that her sister, 5-year-old sister, killed the sheriff.
Yeah.
So, and then basically, Sandra Bullock, who's plays Ruth Slater, her name's Ruth. She takes the blame for it and goes to prison herself for 20 years, and then gets paroled, hopefully on good behavior. I would think that anyone that gets convicted of killing a cop would get a life sentence. I know Washington doesn't have the death penalty. They were one of the first states to do away with that, you know. So I still think 20 years is a pretty light sentence for killing a cop. But if she didn't do it, okay, you know, that helps me a little bit.
Yes, I was thinking like, yeah, like if she really didn't do it, then 20 years seems kind of, that might even seem hard. Like you said though, it would be
in
her
hindsight,
fault.
yeah.
It would be her fault because the kid got hold of the gun for sure. But when you look at it from the perspective of her, though, I think that's one thing I'm thinking of too from this movie to give it a little bit of a chance is that I think the main majority of this movie was told through Sandra Bullock's perspective, and we have to watch it through her perspective. And so a lot of it was more focused on like how she was feeling as a result of this happening to her. And so I don't know if it really was trying to be authentic to the situation so much as it was trying to be authentic to her experience in the situation. And I think when you watch it for more of that, you're not going to be as kind of critical on the semantics. Maybe maybe it helps it, but
yeah. So that was one of the big, I just said, turnoffs for me is her getting out after 20 years for killing a cop, because that's what I want to be. You know, currently I work with cops every day, so I have a pretty big problem with a cop being killed, and we're only getting 20 years, and for that situation. So basically, we'll get into the situation why she or her little sister pulled the trigger. So Sandra Bullock is like 20 years older than her sister. They said the sister is 5, so Sandra is like 25 at this time. Mother died during the childbirth of the little sister. Right. Father committed suicide,
hung himself,
and now they're living in the house. This company or the city or whoever is going to come to evict them, she absolutely doesn't want to leave. They think that's going to be like she's going to go into, or the little sister is going to go into the system, and Sandra's probably going to be homeless some kind, you know. So yeah, they doesn't want to leave, and then they try to breach. The eviction company tries to breach. Sheriff goes around the side, goes up the steps. Little girl grabs the shotgun, and points it at the sheriff, and boom,
blows his muffin top back just like that.
Yes, yeah, that's the way of putting it.
No questions. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, I guess Ruth then decides they can get out, you know, since they fire the weapon. So she like points the gun at the eviction company, and they're allowed to leave, and they go to a diner for one last meal or something, because Ruth knows that the cops.
She knows. Yeah, she knows she'll get caught. Yeah.
It's a very sweet moment. The girl's eating the like triple stack pancakes, strawberries, whipped cream.
Camera pans away.
Yeah.
It's in the background where the things happen. It's focused on her. Pretty good. One of my favorite shots in the movie. Really good shot.
The dialogue that really struck me in that scene is Ruth was speaking to the little girl Katie, saying, you know, it's okay, you know. And then the little girl's like, what happened? Yeah. Like, you don't know what happened? She's like, I don't know what happened. something in that neighborhood. So basically, the little girl does not remember or is too young to comprehend that she just killed a sheriff.
Yeah.
And anyway, so Ruth goes away for murder, even though she took the blame for murder. 20 years, gets out, meets her parole officer, who's played by Rob Morgan. And did you recognize Rob Morgan, where he's from?
I didn't. I don't remember seeing him. I thought it was Don Cheadle. I'm not gonna lie, and then it wasn't Don Cheadle, and so I feel
Fair,
like I
okay.
dropped the ball.
I seriously would think that.
Where's he from?
Okay, do you know my number one favorite movie of all time?
Oh wait, is that Herb from Just
That's
Mercy?
her.
Wow. Okay.
So
Yeah,
you
that's my
see,
favorite character.
that's
Yeah.
why I keep mentioning him. How talented his performance in Just Mercy is insane.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
maybe one of the best performances in the movie. And then again,
Very
he's
much
a
so.
parole officer who is also gets very
Some
little
of his
screen time.
dialogues were really dialogue lines were really cringy. One of them was like, maybe she'd be better off without you. I was like, oh man, me and you could have wrote that down with crayon on a napkin and put that on there. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, it's not a good look, but
Yeah,
it
also so the
passed a little bit.
dialogue wasn't perfect at times,
Yeah,
but also I
has
feel like
moments.
when they really wanted to write a good scene, they did.
Yeah.
But in the filler scenes, they're just like, oh, whatever. This doesn't really matter. So I feel like anyone could notice that there wasn't great writing, but there was in some spots.
Yeah, when you touch on like there was a lot of some worked and some didn't. I think that we may mention it in the movie Manifest that this film went for a lot. It tried to cast a wide net on what it was going for.
Yeah, yeah.
What are
So,
some areas where you feel like it landed versus where maybe it didn't land?
well, I think what landed was the although I think this could have been fleshed out way more, was Ruth's relationship with her new coworker. She gets a job at cutting fish, slicing
Yeah.
fish up, and she meets John Bernthal, and they start hanging out a little bit, grab breakfast. He does an incredibly awesome thing. He goes to her second job where she is building like a little homeless shelter, and
Like a kitchen.
brings her a new coat because he says her coat isn't good, and it gets pretty cold up in Seattle. So he brings her a new coat and some donuts.
That was funny. That was some
Yeah,
levity.
surprises Ruth, spills the donuts. It was just a really sweet scene, and I feel like this could have been fleshed out because once Ruth tells John Bernthal that she is a convict, got out for killing a cop. That's the relationship ends, and she actually gets beat up at her work because of that. Because one of her coworkers' father was a cop,
Like that
and
Asian legend cop. Yeah. And that
yeah,
was blocky. That felt funky to me a little bit because the way that went from one extreme to another so fast, like I just feel like there wasn't a lot of time to really kind of understand why Bernthal. Like they try to save it, I feel like when he talks to her later and he's like, "Hey, I'm a convict. I had to tell somebody," but
that's
it
what.
seemed like a weak attempt at
Yeah,
saving a pretty big jump.
it was a weak attempt there, but I feel like him telling her that he was a convict really
Added some
helped.
depth. Added
Like
some depth. Yeah.
they could have worked out together. I know like that would have been violating parole because you can't hang out with other convicts. You're supposed to move on and find law-abiding people.
Yeah.
But that then it just ended. Another part I liked that landed for me was just showing her daily struggles,
Yeah.
like working two jobs. The halfway house she was put in at first didn't get along with those people there. They're rude, mean, so she left. Just trying to find her footing in society. And you could tell from Bullock's expressions and just the way she acted that she it really took a toll on her. You can tell she just served 20 years in prison.
Yeah.
And she was. There was one she walked outside from the homeless shelter she was building, and like a car honked, and it scared the crap out of her.
Yeah.
So she was still just so on guard because prison, you just never know when stuff's going to happen. So she was always just ready for anything, and then that surprised her. But yeah, I think it did a really good job of showing that. And the stuff that didn't land for me is that maybe this was the part that landed for you, was the relationship that she tried to get back with her sister.
Yeah.
Your sister is now adopted by this very loving family, and but what bothered me the most was the age difference, or the age um loophole, I guess you'd call it. So her sister Katie's supposed to be 25 now. My math is
Yeah.
correct. She
Okay.
left when she was 5. 20 years later,
To
she'd be
25,
25.
and she'd be 45 or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
To me, it acted like she was still like in high school, and just the way the parents protected her, acted like she was high school. She's building up for this piano recital, and I feel like that's also a high school thing. There's a school bus that drops her off. I feel like they play her in high school. And the other
Was it?
thing,
Yeah.
is that I feel like after, I think they still had a no contact order, but I feel like you could still, the parents shouldn't be involved in all, because if she's over 18, she should be able to make her own decisions. And there
Yeah, that's
shouldn't
where I
be,
was not sure. I wasn't
yeah,
sure how that worked um, with that, because it seemed like in the movie when it reveals that they didn't tell her anything. So if she was able to make her own decisions, she wasn't aware of the
yeah,
decisions she was supposed to be making. So, and it would make sense though for me if she was a little older and they had her doing more sheltered things, given
yeah.
that she was a foster child and given the past. I buy the fact that she's a little older and the parents are really involved because of the traumatic past that she was in.
Another thing that didn't land for me is that they're trying, I feel like they're trying to show how much better Sandra's gotten. Like she's
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
turn life around. But the way that she pursued seeing her sister, I just feel like she went about that in the wrong ways. Especially when she met with adoptive parents, with the lawyer. I feel like
And
that
she kind of got,
situation.
when it got escalated a little bit
Yeah, I
during that.
was like, I don't know. That's when I kind of lost a lot of respect for her, because I was like, no, I commend you for turning your life around, trying to. But then this, I just feel like you're just slipping back in. Like, were you actually ready to be released from prison? So there's a few things that still, I just didn't really like her character, because she didn't
Yeah.
really, like, she said she was sorry, and to be fair, she didn't really do it, but I still blame her at the end of the
See,
day.
I don't even know, like, if when I'm watching the movie and even now, if like, I mean, I think that is definitely poor gun safety for sure. Definitely don't want to have a loaded shotgun by the door. So that's a possible plot hole there. But just like,
What what is going in? Like, she's 5 years old. Why should her first reaction be to grab the shotgun and then go pull the trigger on a person? What?
yeah,
That feels like that's been taught.
I don't know so much if like I'd say that Sandra would have taught that, but I do know that like it could speak to the way that children are raised in the system and kind of that mentality of like I have to every day is like I have to look out for me and no matter what cost. And so if it tried to do that, that might be me giving the movie a little credit because it really didn't flesh out the kind of foster care system as much as it could have gone
She
into. It
wasn't
kind
in
of
the,
touched in
she
it.
wasn't in the system, right?
What's that?
They weren't in the system at that time, right?
I didn't know if they. I thought they were. I thought they were before, or they were. No, they were living with their dad. They were just
Yeah.
living with their dad regular.
And then he died, and then
Yeah.
also they didn't have enough funds to pay for the house, so that's why they got evicted.
So yeah. So she never actually went
That's why I was
into the
like
system.
confused. Like, she
Yeah.
should
So
have
then at
been,
that
even though
point,
like her mom died in childbirth, her dad obviously was struggling
we
and
don't know that relationship either. That's weird, especially the dad's going to kill himself. So that could have been that maybe could have been some good information to have, like what was going on in their environment that led to her escalating that situation like that at the age of 5. That would have helped.
there is so much stuff. Like, we haven't even gotten to the kids of the sheriff. That,
I personally feel like they could have been removed from the movie.
yes,
That's my least favorite part of the movie, and that's why like for me it could have gone higher. That whole their motivation, their decision making, none of it made sense to me, and every scene they were in, I didn't understand why they were in it, which is
Yeah,
why I feel
so,
like I would, yeah, that's the worst hit
I
for me.
understand how you would be upset, obviously, if she's getting out so soon,
Yeah,
but like following her, stalking her, and then planning this elaborate case to not even kill her, but kill someone she loved, and then not even doing that, grabbing the wrong person, grabbing
yeah,
the
because
sister.
I guess he saw Sandra Bullock meeting with her maybe and assumed that that was her, but then
Yeah,
even then, it just yeah, it got really messy toward the end with that, really
and
messy.
then and then the brother cheats.
Yeah, that threw me off. I didn't see that coming. I had no reason to believe that would
Why?
happen.
I
Yeah,
was
there's
like,
no
what the
why.
heck? I guess they needed something for the younger brother to actually like go through with it. Like that was
Yeah,
the triggering event. But golly,
but the guy's not even attractive. I mean, the dude looks. I don't know. I thought
they had a brand new bait. I
they were
was,
just yeah,
yeah. And then you
threw
didn't
me
even
off
go
a little.
through with it. And I was like, come on.
I
But
think the
that's why I
best.
felt like that's why I felt like I got Hollywood eyes. Like they like
We needed like a
Hollywood.
kidnapping
Someone
action
forced someone forced
storyline.
the writer's hand to put that in there. Had to. There's no way
Yeah,
the writer wanted that in the film.
I think and I think that's why I went 7-9 for this because I had a picture of what I thought this could have been. I think if you take the brothers out and then you focus on the dynamic of the relationship between Sandra Bullock and her sister, and
Mm-hmm.
then her life after, and you really try to flesh out those details,
Yeah,
I think you really have something special. But when they add in that other blockbuster kind of, you've got to, oh, you better come here. I'm gonna have a gun to her head. Like, no, it got super TV all of a sudden, and I'm like,
yeah.
any
Hon-
authenticity you had is gone when that starts happening.
yeah, and honestly, obviously if you're maybe paint um Bullock, maybe get her to like a better relationship with either John Bernthal, Viola, or Donofrio, or or parole officer. Like just get a decent relationship that causes her to like is like an accountability partner to tell her like give her some wisdom, tell her to keep moving on, and like help her become a better person. So
Yeah,
she could maybe reach out more friendlier to the adoptive parents, and then maybe be able to see her sister instead of
for sure.
what happened. So I just feel like there was a lot smoother
Force
ways to
forced
go.
drama, a forced conflict to make it go further. Um, but I did like I said, like Viola Davis coming in. I did like her struggle. I would have loved to know more because, like, from her perspective, she's worried about like, okay, she consistently called out Sandra Bullock for who she was, like a murderer, and like would bring that to the attention. And the lawyer, he's seeing the best in her because of knowing her history and stuff. So I just feel like I like the way each character kind of brought a certain perspective of it together,
I can't
especially the
say
really.
I can't say I loved how they Donofrio and Davis ended up being in the movie. Like she just
Yeah,
went because obviously um, Donofrio, Donofrio and Davis, they're the Ingrams. They're married and they got a
they're
couple
married. Yeah,
kids, and they're living at the house where all this took down with Sandra
right.
Bullock and the kid. So Sandra Bullock walks up to the house, tries to relive some memories, some happy memories, and then I guess she saw happy memories though. But even though that's where the trauma happened, and then Donofrio just walks out like, "Hey, what are you doing? Are you lost?" Oh no, I worked on this house. Do you want to come inside and
He's really
look
yeah,
around?
yeah,
And then he's like, "I'm a lawyer, by the way. I practice family law." Oh, okay. And it's like,
yeah.
are you? It's
It makes you
convenient,
wonder. Yeah, it is convenient that he is a family lawyer living in the old house for sure, and so he ends up being a piece that she uses and living at the old
and
house.
is that nice, and is like willing
Yeah,
to go the extra mile for her.
it's pretty nice.
Even
I
though I
think though the first scene when she walks toward the house, Sandra Bullock's performance is so much better than the second scene when she walks up to the house. When she walks up to the house the first time, like I love how like the ringing, the high pitched ringings in like her ears when she's standing in the doorway and she's like flashing back. I feel like flashbacks were a little overused, but I feel like they were necessary at times in this one.
they're repetitive, yeah.
Um, but the second time when she came up and she was like, "Where is he?" and it kind of that was when I felt like it went more. Hollywood. And I felt like, well, the first time she was there, I felt it. I was like, oh, she doesn't like being here. She's not very comfortable, and she's revisiting. But it felt more real. And then the second time, it felt like, okay, I'm after him. I'm gonna get him. And you
Yeah,
can see the shift.
that's where I saw again. It's like
Yeah,
that's why I just in that scene where she came back to the house the second time. That's where I like was losing more respect for her character. I was like, this is not the way to go about this. You don't have to see your sister today. There's other days to do this. This is a good
yeah.
opportunity.
It was a good
Yeah.
opportunity, but yeah, she could have been, if it was a little more, I think it may have benefited this one to even slow down, like to maybe grab a little less substance and just slow down. It
Yes.
really tried to, I feel like it started slow and it built something, and like that was my favorite part. Like when you were with Sandra afterwards and following her, like you said, day of life, that was my favorite part. And then the other reason that it touches 7-9 for me are a couple of little things. Each performance, whether it be Bernthal, Davis, Bullock, or Donofrio, I did buy their character, and I did like the way they were performing it. I love Bernthal. I feel like he offered that sweet scene with the donuts, and then that combination of how she's worried, she's looking over her shoulder like I'm about to, and then it turns into that. I thought that was really clever. Um, but then the thing of the scene that I was thinking of was the ending with the sister and her, and how when she's like talking, that scene with Viola Davis. I think that's a great scene. After she goes full action mode, when she breaks down and when you realize how it happened, I think it's a good scene. And it threw me off. I didn't expect it. Did you expect it?
No, of course
That's
not.
so the plot twist was well executed. And I think for me, I'm always a little more biased to a film when you, no matter how bad or untechnical it is, when you can put a plot twist in there and it gets me, it's got to be respected to some way, because I didn't no idea, didn't see it coming.
The other thing that I would like to mention is that okay, so we're getting to the end here. I feel like we're going to spend a more majority of this video talking about the third act and what
Yeah,
all went on.
yeah,
But so basically, um, Sandra or Ruth is told by her sister's adoptive sister that she's going to be playing her piano at this school today, and you can go and watch. But
yeah,
you know, of course, she needs the lawyer's approval, or it needs to go the legal way to go about that. Obviously, can't get in touch with him. He's out of town. I don't know why he had to be out of town for this. Maybe it's just to get Viola Davis in. But
yeah,
anyway, so Viola Davis, you know, she talks Viola into bringing her to the recital, and then she gets a phone call from the brother saying, "Hey, I've got Katie, your sister." Obviously, he doesn't, because we see that Katie's actually playing on the piano right now, and he's grabbed the wrong person.
yeah,
But so they go. She's like, "Meet me at this construction site. You know, I've got her there, and my life or hers, or just come." So you know, she gets there. Um, it was the sister. Who's the sister's name? Emily is, you know,
Emily, yeah,
tied up, taped up. Brothers, or the son of the sheriff's got the gun pointed on her and
yeah,
says that, you know, you killed my dad, I'm gonna kill your sister. And then the whole time, maybe she should have said that, but Ruth is like, no, no, you
she's
don't do
innocent.
this. Yeah, she's innocent.
She never
I don't
says that
just
it's
say
not
that's
her.
not
Yeah,
her.
yeah, she never says that's not, you got the wrong child. Like that's not my
Yeah,
sister.
that is
That would,
not
that
her.
did frustrate me a little bit, because I was like, why wouldn't you say that? Like, do you think he's just gonna kill her when he figures out it's not her? Like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of avoiding the obvious on that one. Yeah, I was thinking that too.
And then anyway, so Ruth then was like, you could tell that the son's not really um wanting to go through with it. He just thinks he needs to for
Yeah,
some reason. You can tell he's upset because his brother just slept with his wife. So
which yeah, it should have been the other brother. I think I liked it more when the, because it felt more real when the younger brother, or was it the younger or the older brother?
the
Which
older
one was
brother
the fat
wanted to
one?
do it, and the older brother didn't really have a family. He was just out there. That's all he was doing.
He was
And the
looking
younger
after his
brother,
mom. Looking
yeah,
after his mom, yeah, which
yeah,
that was interesting to see. And so I think it should have been the older brother, because I liked it more when he was going up to him and he was like, "Well, no, what are you doing? You're doing it wrong. Like, I don't support this." That felt real to me. I was like, okay,
yes,
that's realistic. But then when the tables turned, the way they turned them, it I was just like, I don't know if I buy this younger, or yeah, this younger brother now going for it, just because of this one thing happening. And so yeah, the ending, it really started to fall off, and I think it had something special though. That's the thing. I think that's why if I watched it again, it would probably go down. But I have to commend it for what it had. I feel like because it had something going.
Yeah, so still trying to work my way to like one of my biggest problems with the film.
You're still working, okay.
Yeah,
Besides the others, yeah.
I'm
Good.
trying to set the scene. Um,
Okay. Okay.
so anyway, so Ruth basically tells the son, I'm sorry, I didn't want to, blah 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 blah. And then he gets like he's in shock, and Emily's able to escape, and then Sandra stares at him and it's like, I think that honestly it tried to act like he was going to pull the trigger and shoot her there, but you just
Yeah.
kind of knew it wasn't going to happen. Anyway, so she walks off, she leaves, police shows up, we do the really good comparison scene of her getting arrested 20 years ago to her getting arrested today. Obviously,
Right.
she did no wrong this time. Okay, so and this is the last scene, like this is the last shot of the movie. She's the parole officer gets her out of cuffs, gonna take her back home. She's walking to the car, see in the distance that Emily's getting treated by the ambulance, and her family's there. Katie's there.
Yep.
Okay, parents see Sandra walking. Sandra's like, holy crap, that's Katie. And then Katie turns around, sees her, and they walk towards each other and hug. Like she knew who she was the whole time.
I was see. I don't know though. I was confused because not confused, but like I feel like it was almost kind of open to the extent of she also could have been hugging her, as in, oh, you're the one that saved my sister. So she
No,
could have been hugging her for that.
no.
It did not paint clearly why she was hugging her. It didn't paint it clearly. It left
Well,
it open.
from I feel like she knew, like subconscious, she knew. I feel like her brain was trying to keep her from that event and from that, because the brain likes to do that, tries to keep you from reliving, tries to protect you.
Yeah.
And because like she had these dreams, memories of someone being in her life.
Couldn't see the
And
face
she
usually.
even Emily asked her
Yeah.
about it. She's like, I don't know who it is. When she turned, she's like, holy crap, that's my sister.
Which is cool if it is. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I think it's even cooler that it's possible that the memory could still be fuzzy because it's been fuzzy throughout the whole movie. And I think
Maybe,
seeing her, she might know. Yeah, she
but
most likely knows.
how about this? Instead, how about Ruth shows up to the recital or whatever, or her piano lesson. She finishes, she comes out or makes contact with Ruth. She's like, holy crap, that's my sister. And then like they grab dinner after or something with the parents or something.
Yeah.
I was like, there's like 1,000 ways this could have actually stayed true and like been somewhat realistic. But no, let's
Yeah. I mean, even if she finishes the recital and gets finished and they hug after and it ends, I mean, I don't mind it ending on the hug, honestly, because I mean, like, I just wanted to see them come back together. But from my perspective, because you know what, you're in Bullock's shoes the whole way, you know what she wants, and the fact that she finally made it there is remotely like where you said the feel good aspect is when they do come together. Because the dinner, if they did something after, I feel like it might just be like dragging it out. Like I think I just needed them
I
to
mean,
reconnect,
I didn't mean like a whole dinner, just like a shot of them like hurrying
coming together
pancakes or something, like
with the
I
parents
don't know.
too. Like, oh, just them two at a restaurant together.
Or maybe the parents are close by just to keep an eye on them, make sure she doesn't kill her or something.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be a twist if she just killed her when she saw her. Like, she goes to hug her and she puts a knife in her back. It's like then the credits roll and it's like, wait a second, I missed
Hold on.
this. Yeah,
So
but no, yeah,
the first, I'd say before the twist saying that Katie killed the sheriff, I really didn't want Ruth to get back or to be able to have any contact with her sister.
yeah,
Why? Like I was completely in the parents' boat. Why would you let her relive this traumatic event over? Like she's in a very happy place. Like obviously she's still a little traumatized, but she's in a really good place with people who love her. And I'm not saying that Ruth didn't love her, but I'm saying she's in a
yeah,
happy place now. Why open up this bucket of scars from her past?
yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't.
But then I'm sorry, but then the twist happened, and I'm like, okay, maybe they need each other to help cope through this together, and maybe they
Yeah,
need to get coffee once a week and talk things over. But still keep on with your normal life with your loving family.
no, and I don't think. whatever. I don't think Ruth ever wanted like custody or anything. I don't think she ever wanted like to take her from that. I think that she was just looking for some form of relationship, and then maybe even one meeting. Maybe she just wanted the one meeting. She said like, "I'm not looking for a second chance." She even said that. She's like, "I just want to know if she's okay," and like maybe she wants to, I guess, like just talk to her, meet with her, whatever. But
Well,
for
obviously,
me,
her what she said didn't match up with her actions.
well,
If
my
you want to
thing,
make sure
I
she's
feel like,
okay, then verbally abuse the parents to find out if she's okay.
yeah, which you got to put yourself in her shoes though again, because like I feel like you're watching this from the perspective of almost like the I'm a state trooper student and I hate this woman for what she did. And I totally feel that because that's how you're going to watch it. But like if you watch this from her shoes, you've been in prison for 20 years for a crime you didn't do. It was your fault, but you didn't do it. You haven't seen your sister. You don't know if she's okay. And then you get a chance to. And the dad was being very difficult. And I mean, maybe he had a right to be. Maybe he was
Yeah, he
frustrated
definitely
too.
had a right
But
to be.
he was being, in my opinion, almost very unnecessarily like, oh, like he was meeting them and he was just being like just reinforcing kind of what you're saying without even hearing her out at all. So then when she finally got a chance to speak, and then the idea of it came where like they didn't even show her letters, didn't even show her she existed. That's her thinking, okay, 20 years of my life I've been reaching and nothing has gone through. It's got to be frustrating. So do I think it's the move? No, I don't think it's the smart choice. But do I
Yeah,
buy her character doing that in that scene? Yeah, I do. Because it's a lot of tension built up over 20 years, and you never know
yeah,
how someone's going to respond until that situation comes up. But yeah, it's when I watch it from her perspective, I think I like it a little more. But when I watch it from someone that's like just seeing it happen, and it's like, it reminds me, watching this movie reminds me of watching I Care a Lot. I feel like you watched it as like for the ride and you were like whatever, and you didn't really look at the whole what the implications were. And I watched it with the implications, and that's why that's what makes me think of with this one for you. You remember, I'm not gonna
yeah,
spoil I Care a Lot, but you know what I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about, and I can
Yeah.
see, yeah, but like even like I understand, like I could still would have been enjoy the movie, even if she is a cop killer. Still was still like um probably still should have been in prison for it.
Yeah.
But I liked her trying to rewrite her wrongs in a way. And I like that
Trying
she
to.
tried
Yeah.
to reach out to family, tried to create relationships. I like that aspect of it, but the, it's hard for me because from the point where like she was at first she acted like she didn't like care or like when people asked her about like her murder, she didn't really share a lot. Now I know that's because her sister did it,
Yeah.
you know. But at that point, I was like, she doesn't even want to own up to it, like she doesn't even want to give a reason. Like, because right now, all I'm thinking is that she just killed the sheriff just because they're gonna evict her, even though the sheriff said that, hey, you can come and stay with us in my home.
Yeah. He did say your boys offered a
So I
room.
was like completely thrown. I was like, I don't get this. So I really didn't like her, and especially after the tantrum that she threw while meeting the parents, even if it was warranted, you know.
And not warranted for sure. Like it's just believable a little bit. And then the scene with, I guess for me what I would need to know is, and maybe you'd be able to enlighten, what would have happened to the little girl if Ruth came forward and said it was her, she grabbed it, she was scared and she did it. How would that have played out for the little girl? What would have happened to her?
Literal, nothing would have happened to her. I don't
Uh,
think. She's 5 years old. You would have said she didn't know what she was doing. If you don't know the act you're committing.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. You carry on. Hold on.
No,
Say
yeah,
something
because it
else.
makes me, I would need to know the age because I know that it just depends. Yeah, because if you don't know, and like 5 just seems like a weird age to me where like there could possibly be room for a lawyer to like weed out some intent at that age.
She wouldn't
So
even
it
been
just
charged with any. I'm sorry, I'm back now. She wouldn't have been charged with anything.
so if the family of the sheriff wouldn't have charged them if they knew the little girl had did it, you think?
She wouldn't. They wouldn't have charged the 5-year-old girl. Obviously, I think the
Charge
Sandra
Ruth.
would still would have gotten something.
Yeah.
Maybe I couldn't have gotten murder, but maybe has something to do with like not protecting a child or I don't know, something. She would have got prison time, I think, but not. She wouldn't have been a cop killer. She wouldn't have had that label on her.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because that would be one of the other plot holes. There is just like she could have easily just been like, well, my sister did this. She was young. She knew what she was doing, and then boom, we wouldn't have a movie. So you gotta get to the point with certain objective points where it's like if you
Yeah.
take certain things out, you really don't have a movie, and then it's like, well, okay, you need to make a movie somewhere.
Let's see. Yeah, it says. Let me find this. I think it. Like I saw somewhere on the trivia
Okay.
that
I'll go through a scene while you're finding that I did like. I did like the scene in the building when I think it might be after the tantrum you're talking about with the parents when
yeah
she had just been working on that building and finding that there and she's like breaking that building apart. I feel like that's a great scene because it's like it was almost like symbolic. And I don't know if the filmmaker meant this, he may have, but like what she had been building literally she was destroying. And then in her mind, what she had been building in the past, like through prison, was meaningless and destroyed. So it was kind of like a double, like a literal metaphor of like how she was feeling
yeah.
when she was tearing down those walls.
Although
And
it
I thought that was really cool.
was kind of stupid because I'm sure that's like months of work that you got to do
Right.
all
Yeah. I
over
mean,
again. But
which,
yeah,
yeah.
okay. So according to the
Makes it
IMDb
good.
trivia, so this is, I mean, this is our actual source here. This means that this is true. In the state of Washington, children under the age of 8 years old cannot be criminally prosecuted. So she would
Okay.
have been fine.
There you go. So,
I also
and but
saw
yeah.
was this movie was originally announced in 2010,
Wow. That's a long time to not get made.
and it says
That
that it's
makes
based off
sense.
of a British miniseries called Unforgiven. So
Okay.
like I was even watching a movie review about this and saying basically the guy said he enjoyed the movie, thought the same feelings we did, thought a lot of people were underused, thought there could have been a better identity to the story. He said this would have worked better as a miniseries, like a one season, 4 or 5 episodes
To
to
flesh
really
out more stuff and
yes
not squeeze everything in toward the end because
yeah
the ending definitely felt compressed and anyone could probably tell you that they really tried to slow burn the beginning and then I
hmm
think they realized that about the maybe the hour and a half mark they're like we have a lot of ground to cover and we got to
yes.
get this to the resolution and
So
fell short.
did this remind you of like any movies that you've seen before?
mm, I don't know if it really I don't know if I've seen many movies where they focus on life after without showing scenes in the prison. I don't know if I did remind me of any.
The only
Nothing
thing
really
that
comes to
like
mind for me.
you could kind of get some American History X vibes, but like just because the
Oh
getting out
yeah,
of prison and trying to
that
um
movie's just so much better, and it definitely
yeah
warrants it to be like because
yeah
the it does show into prison too, but I think the originality comes from, in my opinion, like the kind of the sisterly bond there, and I
hmm
feel like it does speak to even if it's not like the way it should go it does speak to kind of you see what an older sister would do for a younger sister and that concept is very touching and if that resonates with you you can watch it and be like okay
yeah
I appreciate her doing this for her sister even if it's wrong even if it's whatever it
yeah.
is
So this is why like
touching.
that's why like if you watch this subjectively like we do, but like
Yeah.
that's why the critics wouldn't be that fond of this because I mean you could spend hours going through this movie and nitpicking stuff,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
for
and
sure.
obviously a lot of it I mean is needed because I mean this movie is not great, but you know we can look at it and be like okay this was good, could have been a lot better, but I saw what they're trying to do, saw what it could have been, and I appreciate it for what it was.
Oh yeah, that's the key. That'd be the way to sum it up. Is definitely saw what it could have been. Appreciate the attempt. If I was grading this paper, it would be a 79, so I could be like, "Hey, listen, I want you to take this, take 2 more weeks, and give me something else." Because I think
Yes.
you just might have an A-worthy quality here if you figure some stuff out. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where my head was at with the 7.9. But like I said, it would go down after multiple watch because the twist elevates it, and when the twist elevates it, like it's not like a I'm not gonna spoil any movies,
Hold
but
on.
certain movies don't need the twist, but some do. This one needed it, I think.
Certain question. This is was the twist needed?
See, I think for this movie, I don't like it as much if the twist didn't happen. So for me, I feel like the twist was needed.
I feel yeah, the twist helped me care a little bit more for Bullock's character,
Right.
but also would have been okay if it was just about her getting better and then doing enough good, turning her life around enough where the parents would want to tell Katie about her.
And we'll say
I
this
was
did
okay with
remind
it.
me. This movie did remind me of one. I don't know if you got to see it. Did you ever watch Dead Man Walking with Sean Penn?
No.
It kind of reminded me of that, and when I'm thinking about that in the way that that film kind of worked out, maybe the twist wasn't needed. Maybe it could have gone the other way, and then you'd have been like, okay, well, whatever, there, maybe. But for me, I just think it made it so much better when it's more of like she took the fall for her, even if she didn't
Mhm.
have to. Her first instinct was to do that, and I think that's where the touchingness comes from. If that doesn't happen, then you're left with this cop killer girl we've been with, and it probably would have been a routine evict, and then she'd have shot him. I don't know how they would have spun it other than this. Like maybe the sheriff was being. I was wondering what they were going to do though, because they really tease the how it happens by not showing you till the very end. But
Yes.
this is probably one of
Uh,
the only ways it could have ended, I think.
yeah. I don't know if we've talked enough about this, but let's do something we didn't do in the second episode with Jake and I. But in terms of our squad, looking at our squad, who do you think is
Oh
going to
yeah.
like this the most, and who do you think is going to poop on this the most?
I will say I think I've been the most optimistic. I think I'll have the highest rating on this movie.
You will.
Yeah. I think I'll have the highest rating. But in terms of who is going to wreck it the most, man, it has got to be Spencer. It has got to be Spencer for me because with what he's looking for in a movie, the technical aspects weren't amazing. I mean, the performances were solid and the film work was the camera work was solid, but nothing really technically stood out.
Yeah.
And then you're left with the story, and there,
Yeah.
as we said, a lot of issues. So
Yeah.
I got to see
You
Spencer
think he's
go
going to
the
go lower
lowest.
than me?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I see him going. I see him easily going high fives, mid fives on this movie.
Okay. So I'm
Easily.
going to do 5.6 to 5.9 for him. You think I'm going to be? Where do you think Luke's going to land?
I could see Luke. I could see Luke going higher than you, but lower than me. Maybe like 7-1, 7-2.
7.1, and then Jake. I feel like Jake would maybe.
He'd be harsh. Jake is an
Yeah.
objective thinker. I can see him being close to where you are, maybe seeing the attempt, but maybe even going a little lower, maybe in the low sixes, 6-2, 6-3 from Jake, if
You
I
said
had to
6.2,
predict it.
6.3. I went 6.8. You said Luke 7.2. We'll
Yep.
see. We'll keep this down.
Let's keep it. Let's see if we get any
I'm gonna write
sidekick
it.
moments.
I'm gonna write it in pen, and then if they ever get to this film, you know.
They might though, because I do say I like that our ratings were spread, because usually when a rating is spread, that makes me want to watch it more because I'm like, well, okay, what did he see versus what he saw? What did he see? And it uh,
Right.
makes it
Right.
more of an appeal. So I like that.
I actually enjoyed doing this review just because Pig. I really enjoyed Pig.
We
Took a
both
lot
really
from
enjoyed
Pig.
Pig.
And
Yeah,
then Belfast. I love Belfast. Like I said, you still haven't got to Belfast.
yeah, yeah.
Gonna still hold that over your head until you watch it, because I don't know if you saw our reviews, but I gave it 9.1. Mr. Jake went 9.0.
Those are solid reviews. Yeah,
So I think
solid reviews.
the video. I mean, the point of us doing the first reaction is to get people to watch the film.
Yeah. So
So
definitely,
like,
if you haven't seen it, go check it. I'm gonna check it out. I've decided, even if it comes down to it, I'll
we're gonna
check it out on Amazon. What's
okay.
happened is it's been available, but it's limited show times where I'm at, and it's really been tough to catch. But if it comes down to it, I'd probably pay the 20 just off of what y'all are talking about it. So
Okay. Let's get into some what movie you gonna watch tomorrow night, huh?
tomorrow night, I'm watching Spider-Man. I'm watching No Way Home. I'm looking forward to it. The tickets went by so fast, and
Yes.
it's gonna be, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you think, is this like your most anticipated movie of the year?
It it would be up there for sure. It's one that it is the most anticipated, but I'm also trying to be level going in because I really don't want to get let down. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'd say
Do you think you're gonna get let down, or you think this is gonna be pretty good?
given what's been out before, I don't see me having many problems with it. Marvel's getting tricky with the timelines. They're really trying to go for it, almost like a Nolan flavor. And honestly, I'm here for it. Sometimes the objectiveness in me wants to break it apart, but it's enjoyable stuff. So we'll
Well,
see.
I plan on checking out Don't Look Up and
You watching that
Nightmare
in theaters
Alley.
tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to watch Don't Look Up tomorrow and then Nightmare Alley on Friday.
Okay. Yeah.
So hopefully, I think those are two films that could win a couple Oscars.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
I
You
don't
know,
know
I'm
about
gonna
you.
stay away from Spider-Man. I'm behind. You know, that's not my favorite universe,
I
Marvel,
don't
and
know about you, but Nightmare Alley might be a possible review upcoming. I think that might be a good one, a good
I think
niche
it
one
could
that
be. Yeah, I
yeah,
was,
I feel like that could be a good one to go through because I could see that one having pretty empty show times, and I could
mhm.
make it some kind of double feature and check it out because that's the Bradley Cooper one, yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So definitely a lot of potential for some hidden gimmery.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like to for our next one or a couple of videos down the line. I'd like to make a video of like a film that's not as popular and that's
yeah.
been out a while, like early 2000s to
One that just
2010.
flew under the radar.
Yeah,
Yeah, one
that,
that just
yeah,
lost. Yeah.
and none of us had seen before. So I'm gonna look for that. We're also trying to do our buddy Jake is trying to put together a video and like show all the features of the manifest and how cool it is. And then
Okay.
I think I might create a video about our rating systems because everybody rates differently. We go out of 10. Some people just do solid numbers, 6, 7, 8. We do 6.8, 6.9, 7.0, 7.1. Some people do out of stars, 3 out of 5
Yeah.
stars. There's just tons of different rating systems. So I was going to try and watch a movie and then explain how I'm going to rate it. And then yeah, that's coming up. We don't know what our next actual movie review is or when it will be, but stay tuned. But this
Yeah,
was
this is what
the
you get in the continued conversation.
yeah.
Yep. So, and I almost did it. I almost did it for you. No, no, you got it. You got it. You got it.
Until next time.
Watch some more movies.